hybrid and online teacher training course at Craven Community College. In this tutorial, I will demonstrate how to grade assignments in Moodle. To begin, let's access the gradebook, going to our navigation and grades. Once here in our gradebook, we will turn our editing on. This allows us to grade items right here in our grader report screen. So when I turn my editing on, it adds boxes underneath each assignment, and my students' names are here across and my assignments are going down this way. So I could literally just add grades here for each of my students, and then I could save my changes. And so to grade assignments that come later in the gradebook, you will grab this scroll bar down here at the bottom, and you can just scroll over and see all of your assignments across this row. Above the assignments row, these are your categories that you set up in your gradebook before. So your categories will show above, and each assignment will show underneath, and the grades for each assignment will show underneath the column for each assignment. So that is kind of the simple way to grade in the gradebook, and at the very end you can see the course total for each of your students. And notice your students' names show up no matter how much you scroll, so you can see them and their grades. For those assignments that are added directly to the Moodle page and completed in Moodle, it's best to grade them from the assignment itself. So this is an assignment in Moodle. I'm going to click on it, and I have two options when this page opens. I can view all of the submissions, which takes me back to a screen that looks like the gradebook, or I can grade these assignments. It shows me that there are 13 participants and 9 students submitted this assignment, and 9 of them still need grading. So if I wanted to grade, I would select the word grade. So this opens up the student submission as a PDF document, and I have options of scrolling through all of the pages that the student submitted here. There are 3 pages, and then I would read the student's submission. And what I can do then is, if I wanted to, I could make comments on this paper by selecting this tool and dragging this area, and it's yellow because this color is selected here, and I could tell her nice work. This is the move tool. This is the select tool, so if I don't like something that I added to the paper, I can select this tool and then select the item and delete. This allows me to circle, I have the free form there, so if there were a word that I wanted to circle and call attention to, I could do that. There's some shape tools. This is a highlighter, so I could highlight different things in the paper if I wanted to. And this one's an annotation, the color of the annotations. So if I wanted to highlight, and I could select a green, and I could select some text, just to call out to the student, because this will be saved. I have down here this notify students checked, and when I save changes, this will be sent back to the student with my feedback on it. So this is one way to provide feedback directly on the paper. This little stamp tool, it's showing that the stamp is the red X right now. There's a sad face. I'm not sure I recommend using that one. There's a happy face and a check mark. So a green check mark, so you could, give the student a happy face, if you wanted to on the paper. So I'm going to delete these items just because I'm really just doing this for demonstration purposes, and I don't particularly want to send this feedback to my student. So let me delete. But the way I normally provide my feedback is I do it down here in the feedback comments. So I would provide a grade for this item. So after I looked at my rubric and decided what score the student got, I would add it here into this area, and this will go directly into my gradebook. And then I would provide comments here, because I think feedback for students is very important. You could add a feedback file here if you wanted to, but that's optional as well. And when you're finished, you would save changes. You could also save changes and show next, and that would just pop you into the next student's paper. You also have the option up here, if you want to, you could drop down. I'm not going to do it now because I'll have to blur out all my students' names, but if I use this drop down, it shows all of my students down in a column, and I can select them to jump to their paper. The other thing I can do is with this filter is I can filter these by assignments that were submitted, assignments that were not submitted, assignments that require grading, and ones that were granted an extension. So this allows me to jump to the papers at my convenience. And the way to grade forums is if you select the forum and then select the discussion. Depending on the type of forum you have, it may look different. But here's a post from one of my students, and it'll tell me that I've set it up for sum of ratings, and I can just drop down here and I can rate the forum, and it goes up to 30, so I have set this up that they can get a total of 30 points. So once I read this post, I would decide how many points to give the student. Another type of assignment that I use in Moodle often is a journal. So this is my school safety and security journal, and you can see up here there are 11 journal entries. So this is my question to them. When I select these, I have the option of, I've already done this, but I have the option of rating each student and providing feedback to the student. So this is another great tool that you can use to provide grades and feedback to your students. Down at the bottom, you have to save all of your feedback. Finally, I want to take a look back at the grader report again. So let's go back to our navigation pane, go to our gradebook. It usually opens to the grader report by default. And there's one other thing that I want to point out. So each assignment is listed across as we stated. And so if I wanted to just look at one of the assignments alone, I could click on the pencil next to the assignment name and it would open up this screen. And at this point, I would be able to override any grades. So the grades are already in there because I graded these from the Moodle page as I showed you a moment ago. I have the option to override the grades, so I could check the override option here and provide a grade for this student. This is how you do the override. Finally, returning to our grader report screen, notice we have a lot of options here that we can view the grade history, outcomes report, overview report, and so forth. So go ahead and take a peek at these and just review them and see which ones you think would be useful to you as the instructor. One other item here on the grader report that I want to point out is if I wanted to look at the grades for just one particular student, I could go to that student's name and select the pencil icon, and what this does is it opens up that student's grade book with all of the grades that they've earned for all of the assignments so far in the class, and even at the end shows me their course total. So this is a great handy tool also to kind of see the grades of one student. So that's it. Thank you for joining me for this hot topic of entering grades in the Moodle Gradebook. See you next time.